It was a cold, moonless night near the outskirts of Kaliningrad. A Russian border patrol had gone quiet. No radio check-ins, no chatter. Only silence. By morning, what little was left of their outpost smoldered in silence. Twisted metal, scorched earth, and a single unblinking sensor, still warm, half buried in the frost-covered mud. No missiles, no infantry, no jets overhead. Only one possible explanation whispered among NATO intelligence circles. The weapon wasn't human, and it had just gone online. For years, military analysts and Western defense agencies have worried about the rise of autonomous warfare. But most eyes have been focused on the United States, China, and Israel. Few suspected that Russia, a nation long mocked for its outdated tanks and aging Soviet infrastructure, had been building something far more sophisticated in the shadows. Something powered by artificial intelligence. This is the story of Russia's secret AI weapons program. The mysterious projects that survived international sanctions, budget cuts, and even battlefield failures. And how, in 2025, one of those systems may have finally come online. To understand what may have been deployed in Kaliningrad, we need to rewind, back to 2018. That's when Russia first unveiled the Uran-9, a robotic tracked combat vehicle bristling with weaponry. It had a 30mm cannon, anti-tank missiles, and a flamethrower. The media called it Russia's killer robot tank. But when Uran-9 was deployed to Syria in real combat, the reality didn't match the hype. The robot frequently lost contact with its operators, couldn't fire accurately while moving, and proved vulnerable to hacking. Russian generals were reportedly furious. To the outside world, Uran-9 was a failure. Another example of Russia overpromising and under-delivering. But to insiders in Moscow's defense circles, it was a prototype. The first step in a much longer game. By 2021, Russia had shifted its strategy. Rather than massive remote-controlled robots, they began funding smaller, more modular systems. Kalashnikov, the same company that makes the AK-47, began developing loitering munitions with AI guidance, the Lancet drone, the KYB-BLA, small, fast, deadly. These systems didn't just follow a joystick. They had onboard processors, visual recognition, limited autonomy, and they were tested ruthlessly on the front lines in Ukraine. But there was something else, something darker. A project buried deeper in Russia's sprawling military-industrial complex. The Marker combat platform. In 2023, Russian tech news briefly covered a prototype called Marker, a robotic ground vehicle developed by the Advanced Research Foundation and Android Technica. It looked like a science fiction rover. Low profile, armored hull, optical tracking systems mounted like eyes. But what caught analysts' attention wasn't its shape. It was how it thought. Marker wasn't just remote-controlled. It was designed to patrol autonomously, recognize enemy infantry and vehicles using neural networks, and select targets without needing a direct human operator. It was, in the words of one Russian engineer, an AI sentry with teeth. And then it vanished from public reporting. Fast forward to spring 2025. Satellite imagery from Western intelligence shows what appears to be a heavily secured testing zone outside Magnitogorsk. Thermal anomalies, unusual EM bursts, repeated jamming events. Local chatter refers to unexplained drone activity, strange vehicles appearing and vanishing overnight. But the real clue, a hacked military procurement document listing a new platform, codename Zashchitnik, the Defender. No public specs, no images, just a short line in the procurement logs. Integrated Autonomous Threat Response System. Phase 3, live trials. That phrase sent NATO analysts scrambling. If Russia has activated a next-gen AI platform in Kaliningrad or elsewhere, it means more than just a new piece of hardware. It signals a doctrinal shift. Russia may now trust a machine, an unfeeling, tireless learning machine to guard its borders, scan for intruders, and, if necessary, pull the trigger. Imagine an automated kill zone, drones with facial recognition flying overhead, ground bots tracking movement patterns, static turrets powered by neural networks calculating threat vectors. No humans, no delay, just cold logic. Why would Russia do this? Why now? 3 reasons. First, manpower. Years of war in Ukraine have drained their forces. Casualty reports are staggering. Recruitment is down. Morale is worse. Second, geography. Kaliningrad, the isolated Russian enclave between Poland and Lithuania, is surrounded by NATO. It's vulnerable, strategic, perfect for testing autonomous defense. Third, propaganda. Deploying an AI defense system sends a message, not just to the West, but to the Russian public. We are still strong. We are still advanced. The West, of course, isn't blind. American and European militaries have their own AI programs. The US Air Force's Skyborg project, DARPA's ACE dogfighting AI, the Loyal Wingman drones, swarm tech, cognitive electronic warfare. But what makes the Russian development so alarming is how unregulated it is. Russia doesn't need to follow NATO's ethical guidelines. It doesn't have to comply with UN suggestions. If it wants to test an autonomous weapon in a live fire zone, it does. And it already has. The 2020 Kargu-2 drone incident in Libya showed the world what happens when autonomous weapons act without oversight. But imagine that on a larger scale. An entire region blanketed by AI-driven systems, learning from every encounter, updating its threat database, growing faster than human analysts can respond. You wouldn't even know the war had started until you were already dead. Some experts believe the Zashchitnik is just the beginning. Patent leaks suggest a companion system codenamed Yarilo is in development, a micro-drone swarm that operates in tandem with ground units. Think of it as a hunter-killer pack. Yarilo marks targets. Zashchitnik executes them. Other reports mention an underground facility tied to the Ministry of Emergency Situations, supposedly experimenting with AI decision matrices for nuclear escalation scenarios. If true, it means Russia isn't just using AI for tactical advantage, but for strategic thresholds. Terrifying. Of course, much of this remains classified, speculative, or deliberately obfuscated. Russia has a long history of using deception in its defense projects. Ghost divisions, inflatable tanks, fake satellite launches. But as one NATO analyst put it, you only need to be wrong once. Because if an autonomous system decides in error or design that a convoy of NATO vehicles is a threat, it won't hesitate. It won't ask. It will act. And by the time humans get involved, it may be too late to stop what's coming next. The real fear isn't just the weapon, it's the precedent. Because if Russia succeeds in deploying a fully autonomous border defense system, one that operates effectively without catastrophic failure, it forces every other military in the world to respond. An AI arms race, where algorithms duel in milliseconds, and wars are decided by machines. This is no longer science fiction. The battlefield is evolving, the kill chain is compressing. And somewhere, deep in a Russian command center, a new type of soldier is already watching. It has no name, no rank, no fear, only code, and a target list that updates every second. If this story made you question the future of war, subscribe to AI Armory. Because what's happening in Kaliningrad today could happen in your city tomorrow. And next time, the machine won't be testing, it'll be at war.